Devil May Cry. Sorry, we closed at 9. Again, no password. I can't seem to get any real business.
Whoa, slow down, babe.
Well, what do we have here? Nature calls? It's in the back.
So, you must be the handyman who'll take any dirty job. Am I correct?
Almost. I only take special jobs, if you know what I mean.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Retrotopia podcast, where we are talking Devil May Cry for the PlayStation 2. But first, where can you find us? Well, go over to linktree/Retrotopia, where you can find our social media links, our free Discord, our free Patreon, which also has a paid tier if you are so inclined, and our merch page. So head on over there, linktree/Retrotopia, and everyone tell a friend. Tell a friend this week. That would be fun. All right. Like I said, we are talking Devil May Cry this week, and we're going to get into that in just a little bit. But first, we have our listener comments section, which we call the 9-Bit Banter Box. All right. First comes from Brother Retro, who says, "Hey, Cheesehead." That's me. So being a dad of 3 and with work and a sports fan as you are, how on earth do you find the time to game for a podcast on top of having a podcast? I have 2 awesome kids, work a ton, and would love to have a podcast, but just feel that there's barely enough hours in a day to even game. Is it because I have a toddler? And any advice on time management? Dude, let me tell you, I often find that I am, in my brain at least, not as much writing down, but I will schedule out or just kind of set goals for myself, even in my leisure time, which sounds nuts. But, you know, like if I want to read a book or a book series or watch a show, I feel like I really have to put forth the effort to set time aside, parse out my relaxation time, to get through what I want to experience. As far as that goes, I mean, I don't really game much outside of for the show, and a lot of stuff, you know, if you're playing new stuff, I mean, we can make content out of that for you folks. But yeah, I don't really play games for myself as much anymore. But I would say in general, everything is an adjustment, and you just have to try to find consistency in whatever you're doing. I'd say, hold on, I gotta shut the door. One beagle in, one beagle out. Okay. Yeah. So like over the summer, I would say I started a new job. It was definitely an adjustment. It made things stressful for a little bit because I was, working, all of those hours and trying to, wrap my head around what my new job was and everything, and then trying to find time to game and put out some of this content. And yeah, it's a lot. I mean, for example, I also like running and trying to stay in shape, but that's something I've kind of put on the back burner for now. Also, it's winter, so that doesn't help. But I mean, it takes so much extra effort to even get into that, something, don't feel like you have to do everything is a piece of advice I would have. And also like a note on kids. You said you had toddlers. I'd say young kids are probably the toughest, babies and toddlers. I mean, big shout out to Danny over at Retro Wars. I mean, he's got 2 very young kids and does his podcast. But what I admire about Danny, and I don't know if you're listening, bud, but I mean, you know when it's time to step aside for a minute and take care of your family, which is what you need to do first, and then this is a fun thing to do on the side. But I guarantee you, even if you start your own podcast or whatever you're doing, like if you need to take time for your family, like everyone is going to understand, and so never apologize for that. One last thing, I know this is kind of a long rambling answer, but as your kids get older, if things do get easier. my children are in middle school and elementary school, and so they're out of those toddler years. They also split time, so I do have a little bit of extra time on my hands. But yeah, once kids get older, they definitely become a little bit more self-sufficient, and you do have time to kind of, you know, do a little bit more for yourself on top of taking care of kiddos. So yeah, that's, I guess, give it time. You know, if you want to do it, try it, and you know, obviously don't over stress yourself, but just give it a shot if you want to do it. Cool. Let's see. Hoolies Gang of Thugs says, geez, you are hitting me with these, Sir Slippy Slime Slammy Sam. I did it. You're having a party. You are having a cheese sculpture delivered as a centerpiece. What is the sculpture of, and where are we cutting into first? I thought about this, and you know, the Packers played today. You know what would be cool? Like a really realistic cheese sculpture of Lambeau Field. You know, but then I might not want to eat it at all, because that'd be cool. Like, especially if it was like a like how those really elaborate sandcastles are. If I had to eat it, I guess I would start with the opposing bench area. Just take that out. Good question. But what kind of cheese? It would probably have to be a cheddar if it was a cheese sculpture, because you'd need a lot of it. So, good question. Next comes from H. Says, hey Sam, I was thinking today about sequels and how we rate them. Where do you think the line is between improving on something already great and just putting out the same thing again and again? Usually, I'd say the second game in series improves everything, like Mass Effect 2, but how long until we as gamers get bored? Good question. First of all, everyone should go check out Retro Rant. H and a buddy of his started a podcast. Their first episode went up last week, I think, so I gave it a listen. It's good stuff. So they talked about the Xbox 360 and the PS3 era, and that was a fun ride. So go check them out. Retro Rant. Yeah, what would I say? Examples of sequels being better than the original. Definitely, Sonic 2 fits that mold. I think Star Wars Battlefront 2, Warcraft 2, those are all some of my favorites. But I don't agree that sequels are always improvements. Sometimes sequels take a weird swing. I mean, Super Mario Bros. 2 was a weird swing, and we all know why that. I mean, that's pretty well documented. We've talked about it twice. You know, that wasn't really a true sequel. It was just kind of what we got here in North America and Europe. But, I mean, it's still an interesting departure from the original. Zelda 2 was definitely a departure from the original, but both of those series came back and had like kind of, you know, true to form, you know, sequels. You know, Super Mario 3 mechanically, you know, kind of has more in common with the original Super Mario Brothers than Super Mario 2, for sure. And then, you know, Link to the Past is back to the top-down dungeon crawler kind of Zelda game. So, like, yeah, they tried something. It was different. It did or didn't work, and then they went back to form. So that's an interesting, example there. But, you know, and then now look at today. You know, you get these games that, like, sports games, Call of Duty, Assassin's Creed. I don't play any of those games, but there's, like, you know, annual or sometimes more than annual releases that are really, really formulaic. But, I mean, they make their money. So I guess that's what people want, but I don't understand how people aren't bored with, you know, the same, basically kind of like the same sports game with just updated rosters or, you know, paying full price for it and everything. You know, people are obviously doing it, but, you know, I'd almost rather play, not almost, I definitely would rather play a remaster of something than kind of a, you know, regurgitated sequel. So, you know, talking about the Pixel remasters, you know, there was a recent Soul Reaver remaster that looks good. You know, I'd rather just play the remixes. I could never get bored just playing old games. So, I don't know. I don't understand how gamers aren't bored with kind of what is the status quo of new games these days. I mean, there's some good ones out there, but there's also, like, for the most part, people just play the same shit. Oh, man. All right. Blue Yoshi 94 says, hey, Sam, what 2D mascot platformer would you like to see in 3D? Dude, this is a tough one. You ask some Blue Yoshi. You ask some stumpers. This is tough because I think most of the successful ones did go 3D. Even some of the lesser successful ones. I mean, you got Bubsy and Gex and I mean, it's really hard to think of one. But I dug deep, and I was a fan of Boogerman on the Genesis as a kid. So I'd love to see what they could do with a silly 3D action platformer with Boogerman. So I don't know who remembers Boogerman, but that was an awesome game. All right. McFlurry XD says, this is actually specific to the game of the week, Devil May Cry. He wants Dante's hair, or they want Dante's hair. Dante's hair, it's long and full, and I wish I could have it. Touche. Dante has some luxurious silver locks. All right, the big deal says, I've run out of questions to ask you and just have in my notes to ask you about Superstore. I do love that show. Please pick a character from another show to be hired at Cloud9 for some extra holiday help. All right, this might be recency bias, but we've been watching Abbott Elementary over here at the Beagle's Nest, and they did a crossover with Sunny. And wouldn't Charlie be a fun addition to Cloud9 if they hired him? Although, we know that Charlie has never left Philadelphia, the state of Philadelphia. Or was it he's never been to Pittsburgh? And he's like, 2 cities in 1 state? Anyways, or Mr. Johnson would be fun. If we're going strictly from Abbott, I think Mr. Johnson would be a fun addition over to Superstore. So, all right, yeah, love that one. Superstore is a good show. You should check it out if you haven't. Philip Mouth with Farts says, hi, Sam. Here's what I think could be a fun question for you. Let's say all laws around pet ownership have been officially rescinded, and you could train any animal you like you would a dog. Okay, so yeah, here's the situation. You can have any type of animal, and I'm assuming the animal is dog-like or acts dog-like is the kind of the aim of the question here. So what exotic animal would you like to own? And Philip says, I think it would be cool to own a medium to large cat like a panther. Imagine walking down the street with a panther just healed by your side. That would be nuts. I would pick an American badger. So, look them up. If you're not from the United States, this isn't a honey badger. Those are gross. But American badgers, if you look at them, they're fluffy. They've got little ears. You could just, scratch their little bellies. But I mean, in real life, they would tear your fucking face off. Like, wear it as a coat. They've got, look at the claws. So they are vicious little creatures, but they look like they would be fun to pet. So, okay. That was all the comments and questions we got. And now it is time for our classic game, Choose One, Lose One, where I believe there's a pre-recorded explanation. Just, whatever.
Ladies and gentlemen, roll up and choose your power-up from the game of the week. You pick a power, we pick a consequence. It's Choose One, Lose One, the game where everyone's a loser.
All right. First one comes from Brother Retro, who says, give me a set of those Ifrit gauntlets. Make me feel like a real man. Well, Brother Retro, unfortunately, those Ifrit gauntlets are quite hot, and they burn your hands when you wear them. So good luck peeing, too. Hoolies Gang of Thugs says, I just want to be a demon hunter like Dante. The job title would be sweet. I hate to break it to you, Hooli, but that job has slowly been taken over by automation. So all the demon hunters these days are clankers. H says, I'll take Dante's fighting skills. No one's mugging me down a dark alley. Well, H, I'm sorry to say your camera angle is fucked. So if you're going down a dark alley, you're not going to be able to see in front of you, and you might get mugged anyway. Blue Yoshi 94 says, well, the devil cries in Cuphead, so I want to play Cuphead. All right, Blue Yoshi. Sorry, you can only play Devil May Cry, and it's not as fun as Cuphead. So now you're crying. That's your lose one. Let's see. Avendali says, I would love the ability to regenerate all my wounds in seconds. Do you think it would work to heal my 40-year-old aches and pains too? One can only hope. Oh, sorry. You know what? You can only heal to your current state. So you might get stabbed through with a big sword and heal that, but your back is just going to hurt a little bit still. Super fragile. Oh, God, I can't say that, even though I typed it. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious says, this is easy. I would like to be able to use the devil trigger ability. All right. Well, sorry to say, the devil trigger, when you activate it, turns you into a naked demon. So you get arrested for indecent exposure. And now you can't come within 500 yards of a school or park. All right. Super Dave says, if I could hover in the air and perform combos like Dante, imagine the parkour shenanigans I could get up to. Yes. Well, Super Dave, unfortunately, this power is like the superpower equivalent to owning a pickup truck. Everyone you know is going to bother you to do their work, like clean their gutters or get the cats out of trees, because you could just like jump and hover in the air and parkour off of stuff. So you're going to be doing a bunch of chores for a bunch of people. All right. Thanks, everyone, for playing. That was fun. All right. Some of those are challenged. Like, it's hard to find good drawbacks for all of those, but keep them coming. Those are fun. All right, let's turn it over to Alan for this week's Gentleman's Interlude.
All right. I'm Dante, Devil Hunter. Part-time smart mouth, full-time pain in the neck for anything with horns. Funny thing is, humans actually made a record of my first big job, the Mallet Island incident, through a company called Capcom. Specifically, the crew at Capcom Production Studio 4. They called themselves Team Little Devils, which I've always appreciated. They took my story, directed by Hideki Kamiya, and turned it into a game they released to the world back in 2001, August 23rd in Japan, October 17th in North America, and December 7th in Europe. Not that I needed the publicity, but hey, stylish legends deserve stylish introductions. The version they told starts the night Trish blasted into my shop. She looked like my mother, which was suspicious enough. But the way she tossed me around the room, yeah, that got my attention. She begged for help stopping a demon king named Mundus. And before I knew it, I was riding a creepy ghost ship taxi straight to Mallet Island. Capcom showed the island as a twisted gothic labyrinth. Pretty accurate. The moment I stepped inside the castle, demons came crawling out of every crack, practically begging for a taste of ebony, ivory, and my blade. The humans loved showing off that stylish combat I'm famous for. But they didn't have to exaggerate. I really do fight that well. As I pushed deeper inside, I learned Trish wasn't exactly who she said she was. Mundus had created her as bait. Classy move. Even so, she found her humanity, and we ended up facing the big, overgrown glow ball together. Capcom captured that showdown pretty well. Mundus towering over us, power like a raging sun, the kind of fight that shakes your bones and tests your soul. In the end, I put Mundus back in his place and dragged myself out of the collapsing island. The game wrapped it up neatly, but in reality, my work didn't end there. It never does. Capcom may have released my story to the world, but I'm still the one out here writing the rest. One demon at a time.
All right, Alan, thank you for that Gentleman's Interlude. And now we have a couple of comments for our game of the week. Brother Retro says, I have so many amazing memories with this game. I feel people these days aren't very fond of it, but I have nothing but good feelings and a good time when I play this. Nostalgia goggles, maybe. Either way, can't wait to hear everyone's thoughts. Yeah, I guess you'll have to see. But I'm glad you enjoyed the game and have good memories with it. So hopefully this will give you some feels. All right, H says, I remember with some birthday money one year buying all the PS2 DMCs, Devil May Cries, and having a blast playing through them. Not you, DMC2. Recently bought the HD collection for my PS5 and enjoyed playing through again. Admittedly, I died a lot on the bosses, but eventually got the hang of them. True, I would say, yeah. All right, let's talk Devil May Cry. published and developed by Capcom in 2001 for the PlayStation 2, and just about everything else. Let's get to it. All right, here we are this week to talk Devil May Cry. I have with me Giant Demon, Brian, and my leather mommy, Alan. I couldn't think of anything.
I kind of want to be the leather mummy now.
No, you can't have it. That was me, okay? Like,
Damn it.
that's right.
Oh, Giant Demon Brian and sexy hot leather mummy.
I mean, it's true. It's accurate. I had no idea where he was going with it, but I liked where it ended up. How did you know what I'm wearing right now is what I want to know.
Yeah, I have my ways.
Oh, because you told us you're always wearing skin-tight leather.
Yeah,
That's true. It accentuates my physique.
yeah. Nothing says comfortable fighting gear like a leather corset and a trench coat. God.
Yep.
All right, you guys ready to talk what was supposed to be Resident Evil 4?
Was it really?
Yes, it was.
Oh, what was it?
Yes.
It was supposed to be. Oh, development-wise, I was like,
Yeah,
we
but
hadn't
then-
planned to cover
then it
Resident
kinda
Evil 4. Okay.
No, but then it kind of strayed too far away during development or some shit, and the next thing you know, you end up with Devil May Cry, which is just basically emo Resident Evil.
This would have sucked as a Resident Evil game. Like, I would not have enjoyed like this style of game unless they just kind of repurposed the game and turned it into something else. Like, I can't imagine a hack and slash Resident Evil, which I guess is just kind of technically what this is, right?
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, Resident Evil is notorious for its camera angles to make you feel, I guess, like off-centered or whatever, and this game just does the same goddamn thing.
Yeah.
Oh, this game has so much Resident Evil in its DNA, and a lot of
Oh,
it I can
yeah.
sort of see. Like, there are similarities between this and Resident Evil 4. You know, the castles, the villages, and just all of that sort of shit. I mean,
Maybe
okay, it's,
they're in the same universe.
maybe. Although what I like to
Interesting.
think is that Devil May Cry is Leon Kennedy's sort of self fanfic demon hunting fantasy. Because, you know, you look at Dante and it's just like, well, that's kind of just Leon Kennedy, right? I mean, the hair, the one-liners and all of that stuff, and it's just like you just like made up this whole situation in your head and self-inserted yourself in it, and that's what the game is.
What if Devil May Cry is like a dream that Leon had when he took a nap and then he wakes up and it's actually Resident Evil 4?
That's exactly
What if Leon actually just writes a Resident Evil fan fiction and this is what he came up with?
Yeah.
Do you know what it is?
That explains the woman and the sex aspect.
Do you know what it is? Leon, at the start of Resident Evil 4, when he's asleep in the police car on the way to the big adventure in Resident Evil 4, this is what he's dreaming about beforehand. This is a
what
prequel.
happens. Yep.
This is what happens.
Yeah. Let's go with that. Alan, I know Brian and I, this is the first time we've dabbled in this game. Did you play this when it came out, Alan?
Very close to. Definitely sort of back in the PS2's heyday. I've played this, God, a bunch of times. It's kind of a game, it's one of those sort of brainless, kind of quick, because it's quite a short game, but it's just one of those when I couldn't think of anything else, but I'll just chuck on Devil May Cry for a few hours and just play through that again. It's just one of those. It doesn't really, I mean, you have to lock in, but it's not a game that you really need to think about. Like you said, it's kind of brainless hack and slash, and I just find that quite enjoyable. Yeah, nothing too cerebral in this one, but certainly one that I've played.
You telling me that intro cutscene there where a woman busts in with a motorcycle isn't cerebral?
It's definitely. I tell you what, until you've played Devil May Cry 3 and seen that opening cutscene, I mean, that makes this look tame. I'm telling you.
Does it get even crazier? Because like she busts in with the motorcycle. And the funny thing is like he's behind the desk and he says something stupid like, "Hey, don't you knock?" or something like Like someone didn't just drive a vehicle through your front door.
It's all the one-liners. Absolutely.
God.
Yeah. That's probably the best part to this game for me is how campy the dialogue is throughout the whole game. Like, it has that we wanted to be serious, but we don't know how to feel to it. And it's just like Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the first one. It's just so god-awful that it's good.
I don't love it.
And I don't know if it's intentional. Like, I mean, are you trying to?
Oh, no,
are you
this
trying
is-
to dial it up
this is
so
like
much that? Like,
Yeah, this is like we can't afford actors, so we're just going to get these people who think they can act.
Yeah, I mean,
they
basically.
didn't have famous voice actors for, like, we're not slandering like one of the greats, are we?
No, no. Well, even then, like they should probably strike this off their resume because it's not going to get them any work.
I'll dispute that because, let's be honest, Devil May Cry kickstarted a franchise that is still going and still popular to this day. And it's Capcom. Like, they have a long and storied history of B-movie action, you know, kind of wobbly voice acting, just everything, like that big old healthy dose of Stilton to go along with everything, and they lean into it. That's what I love about it so much. I mean, Resident Evil was a B-movie, and Devil May Cry is just basically, let's just take all of the best demon stuff, a bit of Matrix, a bit of this, bit of that, and just dial it up.
But the B movie really works in Resident Evil because horror movies are better when they're B movies. Where this is supposed to be like an awesome, like you said, the Matrix of video games you're playing. You got the gothic guy, the gothic setting. He can jump around, you got guns, you got swords, you got demons, shitty camera angles. And this should have been like their opus to greatness. Like, this is what Capcom can really do. But they just like they did what a lot of games did back then, is the tracks were, or like the audio tracks felt like they weren't really part of the cutscene you're watching. It was like playing two different things at once. It's like somebody, like, they handed you a CD and said hit play when the little flash appears, and then you're holding your finger over the play button and it's slightly off and it just sounds terrible.
This is like,
I
this
don't know
answers the
that I'd say it
question.
was terrible.
Oh, wait, what wasn't terrible?
The
Alan likes, yeah,
the syncing
Alan's
and the
all
voice.
about the audio. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm all
Well,
about
it was synced. It just feels disconnected from the scene you're watching, just because the emotions don't seem to really jive with the actions.
Well,
like,
and
like Sam said, sitting behind the desk there, it's like, you should, don't you knock? And it's like,
Well,
no.
Maybe
No,
it comes off cooler in the original. Like, obviously it's Capcom games, so this is like what we're getting is the English dub, which, you know, I mean, you could just get some actors off the street to just kind of phone in this dialogue with no context. You know, it's, you know, there's no reaction to it. You know, they're probably not too invested in making sure that this is awesome. I mean, I don't think voice acting video games at the time was like a high art.
Well, I have a feeling that they didn't even get to see the game while they were cutting their lines out there. They were just standing in a booth. It's like, all right, say this like you're angry.
Yeah.
I'm so angry.
Oh, I'm angry.
That'll do. Let's move on to the next line.
Yeah.
Ask somebody if they knock. Do you knock?
Do you knock? I think this game kind of answers the question, like, what if Matrix, but instead of computers, demons?
Yeah, absolutely. It is all about... I mean, this game is unabashed in its focus on style over just about anything else. I mean, the game even ranks you on how well you're doing in fights, which is not something I've ever given a shit about. It's just, as long as I get through the game, I'm happy. But it is all about what combos you have, juggling demons in the air with you, just completely ridiculous physics-breaking bullshit. And again, I'm a big fan. Like, count me in.
See, that wasn't the part that made me stop playing this game. Like, I obviously didn't finish it. I got into it till I felt like I had enough to talk about, but I'm going to go back. I'm going to have to say the entire thing that made me stop this game was the camera angles. Because when you had a good camera angle, you'd pass an invisible barrier. Next thing you know, the camera angle completely changes, so you go back a screen because the controls change with it. Then you kind of have to figure that out as you go along, and it I don't know. I didn't like it in Resident Evil. I don't like it in this.
It's fine in a game like Resident Evil, where I think, well, I mean, we played the first Resident Evil earlier this year, and like by and large, the action in Resident Evil is very slow, and I didn't mind it as much because I had time to react. In this, like, this is a full-on, like, you're expected to do combat and react relatively quickly, and when the camera angles switch and flip like that, I got kind of fucked over a few times. It kind of pissed me off.
Yeah, that is like, that's the biggest problem, is for the amount they want you to do in this game, it doesn't work as well as it could have if they had a floating camera that you could control with the right stick. Because this being a PS2 game, right stick camera control was already, out there because, Xbox and Halo and stuff like that popularized it. So that's would have made this game pop. It would have been a great 3D action platformer. And I'm pretty sure the future Devil May Cry's, at least the newer ones, have gone into that sort of system that instead of having the fixed camera angles. In fact, I think even Resident Evil's done that. But don't quote me because I've played neither.
Well, I mean, certainly from Resident Evil 4 onwards, yeah, you're absolutely right. And Brian, I mean, that is, as much as I love this game, and I do, that is an extremely valid point, and I can't sit back and just justify that because, I mean, it's a holdover from what it sprang from. It is very much a Resident Evil thing, and a lot of what would have been Resident Evil 4 has sort of bled over into Devil May Cry, including those camera angles. And yeah, especially because this is a very sort of all over the place sort of experience where it comes to the movement, because there are some sections where you have to do some mild platforming, and that camera does not help necessarily with making some of those jumps, even though the game, I think, does a reasonably good job on making sure you can't fall off anything without trying. But
yes,
which is something I did appreciate. You have to actively jump down off of stuff, but if you do and you're not lined up properly.
Yeah, it actually kind of made it harder when you have to like hop down off of something. It actually kind of was hard to do that in a way. Like, where I appreciated the fact that it made the platforming itself not difficult because it was kind of telegraphed. But also, if there was a hole that you had to jump down, I probably jumped over it like 8 times and then finally managed to jump down it.
Yeah, absolutely. I did that myself just this playthrough.
Yeah, there's very early in the game, there's a spot where you have to like jump up a hole in the floor and then jump back down the hole in the floor, and it was just like 5 minutes of just jumping over the hole before I could jump down it.
I think a lot of that is down to the camera angles.
But yeah, kind of going back into the graphics, I'm gonna praise it a little bit now, because I will say for a PS2 game, it actually does look quite nice. Like, they really nailed that gothic aesthetic.
Yeah, it looks good. I mean,
yeah, and they did use good atmospheric lighting. Like they used a lot of like the shadows, the moonlight, and like all this dramatic contrast. It really sets the mood of the game.
I think the character models look pretty good when they're. I mean, all cheesy voice acting aside, I think the character models themselves look good. Textures were really good, and I just little cutscenes, like the cutscenes kind of flowed pretty seamlessly from the gameplay and didn't look all that much different from how the game actually looked. Like, you couldn't tell like, oh, this is definitely a cutscene because it looks CG versus pixel.
Mm-hmm.
This was around the time that was becoming popularized. Like they wanted it to be completely seamless, unlike Final Fantasy VII there, where you can almost hear the disc turning up so that it can load a cutscene.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm so glad they figured that shit out.
Yeah. I mean, at no point does it sort of break immersion with that kind of stuff, because I think at all times this kind of makes you want to feel like you're playing a movie, and they've integrated that stuff really well. I'm really interested though. What did you guys play this on?
I played it on PS5.
PS3 through the PS2 disc.
Okay. Because I played it on Switch, and I think they've done a lot to
sharpen up the graphics, because having played it on PS2, you know, I do remember like a certain amount of motion blur, a certain amount of
Oh yeah.
Oh, that wasn't motion blur. That was the PS2 trying to keep the loading speed up.
maybe you know, the game was extraordinarily dark. I do think they've brightened it up for some of these later editions here, but I think back in the day they did a lot to sort of hide a few sins.
That's
with the
true.
visuals.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
you got to do that.
I should put a caveat in there that I played I guess on the PS3 there was an HD collection of the first 3, and that's available to stream on PS Plus right now. So that's how I played it.
Oh, was it? I mean, I didn't actually have to boot up the PS3 for this. Fuck.
Nope.
Well, there
but
we go,
yeah,
though.
actually
that's way better, more comfortable PS5 controller.
And I'll actually
damn.
shout that out. That was a really nice way to play this game. Just game streaming as far as, you know, your PS Plus subscription. I know Xbox Live, or not Xbox Live, Game Pass has game streaming, and I mean, no complaints. It worked pretty well. I think this is the first game that I've actually streamed all the way through this way.
Nice. I have never tried
I don't
that.
know. Kind of an aside, but yeah, I mean, it worked out. Yeah, what else? I mean, graphics. Going back into gameplay though, like this game, I've not played this before, but it kind of gave me some God of War vibes a little bit, in that
Yes.
it was trying to do the thing where you are in a castle waking your way through and having to do some mild puzzle solving. And I say mild, it is very mild puzzle solving. It usually ends up being like, oh, there's a clue somewhere, well, there's a, you know, item that you need to get somewhere down the line that fits into this thing that triggers this reaction kind of thing. So I say that with like an asterisk, like kind of gave me God of War vibes, but God of War does all of this better. I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't played God of War yet. So,
I can't argue with that. I mean, I did think about God of War actually when I was playing it this time around, and it is very, you know, a certain amount of backtracking here and there, like you say, grabbing items, which again is another Resident Evil thing. You know, get this egg and stick it in this door, and you can progress. And it's just like, okay, well, who the fuck designed this castle? Never mind. But yeah, sort of minus the quick time events. There are a lot of similarities. It's just ridiculous, over the top, uber violent gameplay style. That's
what really got me like kind of thinking about God of War 2 is like, yeah, there are certain hack and slash elements with different combos you can do with the sword or the Ifrit gloves, are two weapons you can use. Yeah, and like God of War, I find certain combos that work really well for me, and then I just spam the shit out of them.
If it works, it works.
All right. So I don't know if that's actually a plus for this game or a drawback, or just like, you know, one of these things where it's, you know, easy to, I don't want to say easy. It's not necessarily an easy game, but like easy to play, difficult to master, right? Because whenever you finish a mission and the game is broken down into levels that they call missions, you're assigned a rank at the end, and it gives you like bonus orbs or whatever, you know, between levels that you can use to spend on upgrades and items and stuff. I never got above rank B, which in their letter grade, so it's like S, A, B, C, D, I think is the lowest. And I posted my report card in the Discord, and like, it is the shittiest report card I've ever gotten, but I passed, so whatever.
Yeah.
Isn't it all based on the combos?
Yes,
you do
yeah. So
during
like
gameplay, so
right when you're doing these,
you gotta
combos,
be one of those.
Yeah,
you gotta be one of those players that's like on YouTube there, just gaming this whole thing, because, you know, like doing backflips and, you know, double pistol, shoot the guy in the air crap because you played the game too much and you're perfect.
It's really
That's
just
an S rank.
It's really just putting together the longest chain possible when fighting enemies, I think, and maybe there's a time factor involved, and you know,
there is.
They do give you a time for how fast you get through, so I'm sure like there is replay value to going back through this relatively short game and trying to see what you can do to increase your rank, which, I mean, I'm not going to do that, but someone probably
well, it's like personal preference.
Right.
No, and I mean, any number of times I've played this game, and I don't think I've gotten anything above a B. So don't worry, you're in good company.
All right.
But yeah,
I was like, man, what am I doing wrong?
nothing, because it's
I
not.
ain't
It's
telling you my scores.
It's not just the combos. You know, it is time. It is the amount of orbs that you collect. It's the amount of damage you take. I think it's all of these things rolled into one. So you really need to be like playing this game as well as you can, as quickly as you can, and as completely as you can. And it's just like, well, I'm just here for a good time, not a long time. So
right. It's one of those things where the game is set up for. I appreciate this. I don't know if this is necessarily the intent behind it, but I mean, you can play it like us and just, get the story, fight some challenging bosses, finish the game. Or you can be someone who strives for perfection and really tries to hone your skill at the game and try to get, as, full S tier, all the way through, max everything out. There's that element to it too, where, almost like I'm sure there is a hardcore community of like Devil May Cry fans that play these games and strive for perfection in every aspect, which, I mean, it's there for you if you want it.
yeah. I'll tell you what, some of the later games, they don't just stop with S. You get SS, SSS, and it just gets right. And it's just like, no, thank you. If I even got an S, I'd be happy.
You know what?
But it's not something that's going to ruin my day if I don't get it. It's just like,
opening up higher S tiers is just completely on brand for how over the top this is.
Exactly. It's not just S, it's stylish.
And yeah, stylish. And actually it's kind of cool because it's like A, B, C, D, and S, tiers or whatever. But each description, when you're fighting, it'll pop up like basically it kind of gives you a gauge for like what tier you're on. Not for the level in general, but like obviously getting as many S tier combos, which they call stylish. But I didn't really realize that was all. Each of those corresponded to a letter grade until the very end. I was like, oh, now I feel dumb. But like dull is the D, then there's cool, bravo, absolute, and stylish if you can get your combo up high enough. It's like, oh, there it is.
I mean, it is always nice to see, the game calling you stylish while you're playing it, but
oh yeah,
it didn't actually
stylish.
Translate to much victory for me.
No. I just saw this on I'm like reading through a wiki on it. I guess apparently you can also maintain your style grade by taunting enemies at close range. So that's kind of an interesting way to chain your combo together is figuring out, or working that to your advantage, using that taunt button and then going into your next, combo against another set of enemies or something, kind of helps you bridge the gap. Kind of like doing
like a manual.
Yeah, like a manual revert and a half pipe. We are thinking the same thing.
We are thinking the exact same thing. I knew you were going to say that.
Revert, manual, lip grab, do another thing, between your ramp tricks.
In Cool Borders.
No.
Cool Borders.
Cool Borders wishes...
Sorry, I haven't talked in a while, so...
Cool Borders wishes it could do all that.
Yeah, Cool Borders wishes it was as cool as Devil May Cry.
Actually...
they need to take the word cool out of the name of that game.
Devil May Cry is going to get a better... Yeah, Dull Borders. All right, what... Now, part of this... And this is where I was kind of like, is there kind of also a comparison to be made to like a Dark Souls type? Because this is almost, and I don't want to call it a Souls-like, because it's really not. I mean, and this came out beforehand, but to the point where I thought of it because it was like, this is kind of a lot of boss battles. And that kind of seems to be the focus. Like, you're doing these kind of moving your way through these environments and solving puzzles and fighting enemies on your way to kind of the next boss battle. And that's kind of the point is to, have cool boss fights, I guess, is seemed to be like the focus at some points. Like there were whole missions where you didn't fight a boss, but then there were ones where you pretty much only fight a boss. So I don't know what you thought about those, or that line of thought.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I mean, I think the enemy design in this, just your basic enemies, design wise, are very, very cool, very unique. But I think they, for the most part, exist as fodder for things like gaining orbs or building up your devil trigger to have sort of all the assets you need for the next big encounter. And they really put a lot of effort into the bosses in this game. Like, I really like the boss fights in here, especially like the arenas that you're in, and just all the different sort of levels of verticality to some of them. And yeah, it's just like, I mean, it's not maybe the main focus, but it's certainly a big part of the game.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought, like, because you do see them often too, like they come back, and that I think maybe might be a little bit of a drawback for me, is, you know, basically this game has the outside of kind of the final boss and its forms, you basically have 4 bosses, but you fight them each like 2 or 3 times each. So
Yeah.
it's like you basically fight it, and then it kind of fucks off, and then you see it later on. So that's where I was kind of like, you know, I don't know, could you use a little bit more variety in it? Like, I appreciate the boss fights for what they were, but like repeating them as many times as they did kind of got a little bit boring after a while, where it was like, oh, it's this thing again. So I don't know, sometimes they introduce new attacks or new elements to the fight, but at the end of the day, it's the same thing over and over again. So I maybe a little bit of a detractor.
Well,
there.
Brian, I mean, do you think that's like an asset thing, or like, because
No, it's a storytelling thing. It's. I mean, it could be like space, but we're talking about a DVD at this point, and games that were clocking in around 3 gigabytes, so they probably have plenty of room to do it. It's just, I don't know. It's storytelling. You have a boss that comes back, like his twin brother there that shows up. You fight him 4 times, 3 times. You fight the lava spider a couple of times, the griffin, and everyone's based around a mission, right? So they're kind of the boss of the mission. So it just basically storytelling, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, I suppose that makes sense.
When I think about it that way, I don't mind it as much.
But it's right, though, because, I mean, they are very, very cool to look at, and it's just like, I would like to have seen maybe a few more, like, given how well they did on the ones that are there. And, you know, I'm not taking away from the bosses that you fight in this game, because, you know, they are brilliant. I'm always a big fan of big demons that look absolutely nothing like human beings. Like, you've got your spider, you've got your griffin. I enjoy when demons like that chat shit. You know, it's just like they've got human voices, and they're willing to give back a bit of banter as well. And, you know, I don't know, there's something about that. Just the humanization almost, to an extent, of these massive hulking monsters. And it's just like, oh, shit, I can actually have a conversation with you guys. I mean, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I know, it just gives them a bit more character.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know, like, outside of Lava Spider, none of them really jumped out at me personally. But then again, I'm going to be a naysayer for most of this episode, because this isn't my type of game, and I just kind of went into it with a bad attitude, and I'm coming out of it with one. It did not change my mind.
No. And I guess, like, boss-wise, I will say, first off, I think I played this. I first tried to take a run at this when I was probably trying to do too much, and I was just like, when I would run into an obstacle, I would get really frustrated with it. Like the first boss is that lava spider that Brian mentioned, kind of like a weird scorpion thing, and it just fucking would kick my ass. And the camera angles didn't help, and I was just getting really frustrated with it. Well, finally I finished it. All right, and I move on, and then you fight this. Is it Nelo Angelo the first time? Like the kind of brother of Dante or whatever, where he's kind of a knight. Brother. And that guy was just like, the bosses, like, you have to, bosses and enemies both will just, like, I mean, once the battle starts, right? You watch either a cutscene or you come into a level. If it's coming in hot, like you're right into the middle of a battle, they don't wait. Like they'll fucking cheap shot you for a good quarter or third of your health, like immediately. And that's what kind of like pissed me off right away. It was just like, come on, like like a split second after this cutscene ends, and already I'm like jabbed through for, you know, a significant portion of my health, and I got to just kind of like work my way through this, you know, that doesn't help. So there are very frustrating elements if you're not kind of prepared to try a few times, like through and even have to like reload a save file and replay aspects or like bits of it to get to this boss fight where the first run through, I was pretty pissed off, and I was right where Brian was, where I was like ready to put this down and be like, I don't know if I can do this. And then this past week, I was like, all right, I'm going to start it again. Let's see what I can do. I'll try to kind of learn the ins and outs of the game. And I had a better time with it, but yeah, I can see where like, it's definitely got some frustrating elements to it that are, I think there are cheap elements to the gameplay.
I won't even argue that. I mean, I actually agree. You know, my love for the series aside, yeah, and that's not even just for boss fights. You know, any new enemy that is introduced via some form of cutscene, you know, they will come out swinging the second you're handed control back. You'd better be ready to move, because this game does not hang around. But again, I mean, I think that's kind of a way of forcing this emphasis on combos and style and what have you, because if this game wants you to play it so you're building up combos and being ranked and whatnot, then you have to be like in the fight immediately, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you know, that whole combo system just doesn't work. So the game swarms you a lot, and you really have to be paying attention. But otherwise, just I don't think it would be what the game was designed to be, if that makes sense, which is a really frantic and fast-paced hack and slash.
Yeah, it kind of needs that element of like, you better be ready to go, because once this scene changes and you've got control back, it's your fair game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I get it, but man, it's like my typical, you know, in a typical game, I will sit back and kind of see what the boss is going to do or what the enemies are going to do, and then kind of work my strategy from that. But this, you kind of have to just go in and learn by trying things immediately.
Which is kind of a deviation from other games like Mega Man by Capcom that really relies on patterns and giving you a chance to sit there and see what's going on before you formulate your plan of attack. No, this game was kind of like, here's your dick, here's my foot.
Yeah. Kick you right in the dick.
You're absolutely right. You know, because you are up against these bosses, and it doesn't matter where you are. Like, you think, okay, I'll hang back and watch what he's doing. No. Okay, they've got a long range attack that's instantly going to fuck you over. Okay, well, I've obviously got to get in close. Okay, well, they obviously now you're in range for another type of attack. So it really forces you to kind of learn on the fly, and it kind of ties into what you said earlier on, Sam, about the replayability, because, you know, this game is encouraging you to go back and try again and again and again and try and get these higher scores. And well, it's almost like an arcade in that sense, you know, just keep trying and keep getting higher scores. And none of these missions are particularly long. So even if you game over and have to start again from your last save, I mean, I think the longest mission that I had in this was maybe, 20 minutes? And some of them were as short as like 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah, some of the only ones that got up to like 20 minutes or more were like, if I just couldn't find the fucking ledge was hidden behind a weird camera angle, there was a door there, and I was just like, oh, fuck's sake. Yeah, okay. Or if I wanted to kind of explore around and gather orbs or something like that, and yeah, I was probably sacrificing my devil rank, but whatever, I don't care. I had something on the tip of my brain, and I completely forgot. I don't know. It's gone now. I don't know. Oh,
Yeah.
see, if I don't say it right away, it just flushes.
The cutscene shifted back to Sam, and he was not ready.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Like just to go back real quick to how quickly the game expects you to react. It's like someone's counting down from 3 and starting to punch you on 2. Like 3, 2, 1, but they've already got their fist cocked back and are gonna punch you. So it's like that's kind of how it goes.
That's true, actually, because as we've mentioned, the cutscenes are fairly indistinguishable from gameplay. So you have no idea. There is no tell about when that cutscene's going to end.
Yes, exactly.
It's just
unless you've seen it before and you're trying again, and it's like, here's another positive that I will say. Yes, there are some cutscenes with some dialogue before most of the boss battles. They let you skip them by pressing the start button, and I cannot thank them enough for that, because for as many times as like I would get to a new boss and just kind of die and have to try again, I really appreciated being able to at least speed through those parts where there were cutscenes. Even if I had to replay sections of the level, I knew that there were things that I could kind of zoom through.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like I'd have to watch the fucking griffin fly and shoot lightning bolts and shit. I could just, and the final boss was kind of a dick too. So I really had to try a few times, over and over again to get through that. But they let you skip through this pretty prolonged cutscene.
I mean, any boss that has multiple stages to its boss fight, if you can skip, because there's always some faff between stages, right? And like, if I can skip that, fair fucking play to you. Because, especially, that Nello Angelo gave me some trouble this time around. I'm not sure why. I think I'm just rusty. And I did have like a little bit of trouble with the final boss. So, it took me a couple of attempts. And, it's just, come on, let's just get me back into the fight. I know what I'm doing now. Let's do this thing.
I had a definite strategy for boss fights that I developed as I kind of learned some of the combos. And that's another thing, is this game doesn't really tell you what the combos are. It doesn't pop anything up on the screen when you learn a new one. You have to go into the menus and kind of figure it out. Like I just didn't understand the control scheme, and that is maybe well, here's the problem: is I played it on the
you would
have the manual.
Yeah, you would have read the manual on the shitter if you had the PS2 version.
Well, exactly, but also like this is the HD collection, so there was no, unless I missed it. There didn't appear to be like any digital manual or anything. So really, like, I mean, I'm playing this, streaming it off PS Plus. Like, you have to go into the menus and find your combos. So, like, there was a combo that I got very, very fond of with the main sword, which was like
square.
No. There was I can't even remember what it was called, but it was basically just like this long thrust attack. And there were two
long thrust.
Long thrust. And there were 2 stages of it, so I upgraded it to its like second stage so that it had more range to it. But I pretty much didn't do anything else. So you would hit the right L or the R1 button and then press the forward in the direction that Dante is facing, and then triangle, which is your sword swing. And he would just like repeatedly, like if I were just jamming the triangle button, he would just thrust. Sounds sexual.
Thrust.
But basically that's all I would do and then obviously you have your we haven't talked about it yet, but there's the Devil Trigger, which is kind of a powered up mode, which also while you're in Devil Trigger and doing damage, you're gaining some health back, which helps. So that's how I beat most of like Nello Angelo for sure, because that fucker will block, especially like he gets stronger by the 3rd or 4th time you fight him. He's blocking most of the time, and I found a good pattern where I would use that thrust attack, and then once he starts blocking where I'm not doing any damage, then I just move out of that kind of, I just take my finger off the shoulder button and then I just start swinging, and it'll kind of back his sword off, and then I just start using that thrust attack because it did a fair amount of damage. There was a point where like I was like, why? How come I can't have an A or an S tier? Because I kind of kicked his ass. Like there's one fight that was supposed to be particularly hard right before you kind of finish him off for good. It's like I kind of handed him his ass. Like I deserve some credit for that. And then it was
I'll
like
give you credit for
devil. Yeah, it was like Hunter rank C. I was like, go fuck yourself.
Now, I don't know if this game does it. I know that later games in the series do it, that you will stop getting credit if you're using the same move. But I don't know if it applies to this one.
That must be happening behind the scenes, because I was thinking about that. Like, there must be a way to like vary up your combos and do like, basically they programmed in a way to make it so that you are rewarded for doing as cool of shit as possible.
Yeah, let's say if you're spamming the same move, it becomes a sort of case of diminishing returns, which...
Yeah.
All right, I guess, but, you know, if it got you through the fight, then they can go fuck themselves.
It sure got the job done.
Exactly.
And the same thing, I did the same thing against, gosh, there was this, like, kind of blobby thing. There was a name for it. It was like...
Nightmare.
Nightmare, yeah. God, that thing sucked. But it was like, yeah, it's got this like kind of orb that appears, and I finally figured out a way to jump on top of it, hit the devil trigger, and then just like go to town with this whatever this thrust move was, and I just would like kick the shit out of this orb and do a significant amount of damage when it was out. I was like, okay, well this boss is considered to be one of the more difficult ones in the game, and I held my own. I was like, you know what, I'm going to pat myself on the back for this. And also sound effect wise, when you hit that glass orb when it comes out, it makes a really satisfying kind of clashing sound.
Yeah, that shattering noise that you know you're doing damage at that point.
Yeah, it's like, oh, yes. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have much else aside from like, do we want to talk final boss a little bit? Like, I mean, this is
much else to say.
I mean, this is a short game.
Talking for 20 minutes.
Well, I know, but like, this is a short game, so
it is.
We've really covered most of it. I mean, you have your sword, you have your we didn't really talk weapons, but like you've got your cool double pistols, you've got a shotgun. Flying enemies suck ass. I hate them.
I don't know.
Really.
I mean, what weapons did you like to use? I mean, personally, I as always just went through the entire game with Alistar, the lightning sword, and
for the most part, yeah.
For the most, and once I'd powered that thing up to have both Vortex and our air raid was my jam. Just floating around in Devil Trigger, just sending down bolts of lightning, and that's how I beat most of the bosses once I had it. Like, that was genius.
The Devil Trigger, the air raid thing, I only did it on accident a couple times. I was just like, whoa, how am I this like flying demon thing? That's pretty cool. And I just couldn't figure out how I did it, so I only did it like twice.
Yeah. And aside from that, I mean...
Never did it once. I literally just hit square, triangle, square, triangle, square, triangle. Just that's pretty much all I did.
I
did not get too deep into this game, and like I said, I probably, ruined my own fun, yucked my own yum, if you may. But, yeah, I don't know. I was more annoyed with the camera angles, which I think really turned me off of actually pursuing this game anymore, but...
I mean, did you...
Sounds like it might have been some fun if I put some effort into it.
I mean, I don't know how far through that you got. I mean, did you have any experience? Was there any particular weapon that you enjoyed using, or...
Whatever square and triangle was hooked up to, because I didn't change anything.
Oh, fair enough.
You might not have gotten to the point where you got the Ifrit gloves. Because
I'm not a fan
I
of
don't
them.
think I did.
It's kind of like a slow kung fu type.
I mean,
not even kung fu. It's just slow punches and kicks.
Yeah, I mean, great if you can use them, but I'm not a fan. Like, and you know what I'm figuring out the more that we do this podcast, and I don't know if you guys are the same, but it seems like I'm always erring towards the lightning. So we've talked about this a few times now about what skills and what abilities that we've used, and it's always lightning.
I love some lightning. What was
the
the
same
most
with
recent
BioShock.
game where I was just like, yeah, BioShock, that was the one.
Yeah.
I always used that lightning thing,
Yeah.
the thing where you jump off the hook, and lightning's the best, man.
Give me some of that sweet Raiden shit, Just let me cool down lightning on my foes, and I'm a happy man.
Even Dragon Quest 3, I was like, once my hero learned Kazap and I could just like clear a whole screen with a lightning bolt, I was like, yeah, I'm good. This is my favorite spell.
Other than that, I mean, guns-wise, I was always using Ebony and Ivory because twin pistols are just fun. Unless there were some of those Scissor Reapers around, because the shotgun works wonders on those things. And
I learned that way too late, and I was like, I should have been just like cranking these things with the shotgun the entire time. Because just like 2 shots each with the shotgun, it's like, I don't even care that I'm not getting any sort of combo points for this. I just want these things dead.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, and I hate that you kill them, and then when they die, they throw their scissors in the air, and it can also hit you.
That's true. Yeah, one last fuck you before
those
the end.
Things.
I mean, we haven't really touched on story at all, and I know like it's a Capcom game, like how much story is there, but I actually really enjoy the story and the kind of mythos behind this game, which. Obviously, they go into far more detail in later games, like especially number 3, which is a prequel to the entire series. So really fleshes things
like
out.
Dragon Quest, the Dragon Quest of the Dragon Quest of hack and slash.
Absolutely. But yeah, what did you guys think, such as it was, of the story?
I need to have you.
Awful.
I need to have you explain it to me.
10 out of 10.
No, I want to hear I want to hear Brian's justification right there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, since I've been kind of sitting back here because I really don't have a lot to add with all the talk about the actual gameplay and stuff like that. I don't know. I fell asleep for a minute there, but the story starts off so stupid, and I'm just like, this is great, because I love when the story is just over the top, and it's still in the era where they weren't really great at animating characters. Like, they didn't do motion capture and stuff like that, so they just tried to make the characters look right when they moved around, and this game does it, like, almost perfectly. Perfectly bad, that is. So, yeah, it all starts out with this beautiful shot of the Devil May Cry Detective Agency, or Devil Fighting Agency, or whatever the hell it is. And, you know, Dante sitting behind the desk after they show all the, trophies he has on the wall. And Trish.
Yeah.
Susan comes in, and she just busts through with the friggin' motorcycle and then stabs him. And it's just like, there's no lead up to this. She's just walking towards this building and has a motorcycle now. And yeah, so he gets up, of course, he's like, I'm actually the devil's son, and it gets worse from there, and I'm just like, I'm on board. This part of the game got me excited to start. And then from there, story-wise, from far as I got, and I actually watched the YouTube clip just to get all the story down, because I was really invested in that much, but it was just like the plot twist at the end where, you know, Trish is, and yes, this is going to be a huge spoiler, Trish is made by Mundus to go lure Dante there, because Mundus wants to kill Dante, because Dante's the only person who can kill Mundus. Even though Dante didn't really know Mundus was back alive until Trish came and found him, right? So it's like, this is a stupid plot twist, because had he not done this, well, Dante would have never been there.
Mm-hmm.
And then Nello is his twin brother or something like that. Another great plot twist. And it's all about jealousy, and it's just like, it makes no sense. He's just there. It's like, I hate you, brother, but you wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Mundus. Or some crap. Anyways, yeah, the story is just terrible. I love it.
It is nuts. Like, and did I mishear it, or at the end, I think Trish sacrifices herself for Dante, but then Dante also sacrifices himself for Trish. Does he call her mommy?
You know,
or like,
probably
mother or something? It's like, oh, oh, mommy. But the way he said it was just like so fucking weird sounding. Like the voice acting and the final scene, like if you don't play this game or you're not interested in it, just do yourself a favor and watch some of the last cutscenes because the voice acting is so fucking dumb.
I
So
love
this
it.
is what happens when you don't show the video of what you want the actor
Yes.
to portray, and you just have them read off a script with cues of like, you're angry, oh, you miss your mom.
Yeah.
You know,
They're
it just it's
I
this is the way games are meant to be made.
I
Yes.
love the story, and I will debate, because Dante's appearance on the island. Okay, so his father was a legendary general in hell, the Dark Knight Sparta, who had a sudden and unpredictable change of heart and decided to thwart Mundus's plans to take over the world, sealing him away seemingly forever. And the whole reason that Dante's been lured to the island is because the blood of Sparta sealed him there. He needs the blood of a Sparta to free him. So it kind of makes sense
Like
from that
Nilo.
point of view. What? I got nothing.
Yeah, he literally has Dante's twin brother.
I got
but he needs
nothing.
Dante.
I got nothing. You've just blindsided me, you son of a bitch.
Brian is flexing his storytelling class muscles.
Fucking
I
A.
got you with this. This is why Dante was there. They need his blood because it's the blood of his father. It's like, yeah, but plot hole.
Or was it both
Like
of their
literally,
amulets?
all of Mundus's plans could have come to fruition without Dante. It's just,
I've probably gotten that wrong, but you
is-
you fucking bastard.
you know what it reminds me of? Have you ever watched The Big Bang Theory? There's an
No.
episode where Amy sits there and goes to Sheldon. She goes, Indiana Jones played no part in the outcome of, the one with the Nazis and the, names escaping me.
Oh my god!
Not Temple of Doom. What was the
it's-
other one?
It's not Temple of Doom, and it's not the Last Crusade. It's the other one, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, Raiders.
Yeah, Raiders of the Lost Ark. So Indiana Jones played absolutely no outcome in that, and then she goes on to explain how they still would have found the case, they still would have opened it, and they still would have melted their own faces off, thusly losing. And it was just like one of those, well, fuck.
Yeah,
moments.
it is a well established sort of.
Yeah, so your explanation of Dante's reason to be on the island is literally, that's what that reminded me of.
Well, somebody write in and tell me how I'm wrong and how Brian's wrong, and settle this whole thing. I don't know. Maybe it's something to do with the amulets that both of them had. He needed both of them to open the gate to the underworld so that he could come back. There you go.
Oh,
Fuck you, Brian.
that's true. That is true. He had the.
If it was the amulets,
those-
why not just get Trish to sleep with Dante and steal the amulet?
She looks like his mom.
You gain them as you go through the castle.
And apparently that's not a problem because in the end of it, they end up together.
Yeah,
don't
and
they?
and he's like, mother. Ugh." It's so weird. Wait, where is this castle? Like, that was another thing that I was just like, why is there just an island with this massive medieval looking castle on it? Like, what's this place's deal?
It's kind of where he was
They
sealed.
just had to have a castle.
And there's a plane in it. Like, also they escape like Sonic 2 style in a biplane like that. I just okay, that full spoilers, by the way. You're going through, you actually see the biplane like very early on, like pretty much in like the first or second mission. And it's just kind of there. It's like, oh, there's like a weird steampunky looking biplane in here, whatever. And then at the end, it's like you get trapped. You have to fight this kind of final last gasp boss. You get this really cool power that you can fire with your pistols and kind of set piece end the game. And then this plane just crashes through the ceiling, and that's how they escape. I'm like, what the fuck?
How did like the chances of any tunnel being on the other side of the wall that leads directly
Exactly,
to
that
outside
too.
of the island is absolute bullshit. But I love this whole Chekhov's plane situation because it's there right from the off.
Plane. Yes.
It's just like, I had no idea that was going to be useful later, but I really appreciate it because even with the plane there beforehand, it is still the biggest Deus Ex arse pull ever.
Yes. It's like, why? First, like this derelict plane that's just in this musty ass old castle full of mannequin creatures just happens to work. And the funny thing is, like, it drops through the ceiling, and Dante looks at it, and he's like, "Let's go." It's like, wait, what part of you thinks that plane works? And is like fully loaded with ammunition, just like ready to go.
And of course he can fly it, because
Of
why
course,
not?
yes. Well,
Yeah, and so the part of the plot that got me was right at the beginning there, where you get to the castle and Trish is like, "Let's go in," and she jumps up the side of the cliff
yeah.
like some superhuman, say, devil person, and then you have to run up the path.
what? Yeah, what the fuck was that? Like, let's go. And it's just like, yeah, I guess I'll just walk.
At
Fuck
first,
me.
I was like, this is kind of dumb. Like, why didn't she do it herself? But then when you find out about the plot twist, it makes a lot more sense why she was like superficially helping Dante.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, she's in love with him, and he has a mummy issue, an Oedipus complex, and it gets weird from there.
Yeah, it's very weird.
It gets weird from there. It was weird from the moment she threw a bicycle at him. It just got fucking weirder from then.
Yeah. To kind of step back from the story a little bit, the plane made me think of something that I didn't want to forget. There are 2 sections of this game where it goes from this like hack and slash, weird camera angle type gameplay to a straight up rail shooter. And what the fuck? I did not appreciate that at all. I was like playing along with a guide just so that I could kind of get through it, and the guide on IGN that I was using was kind of ranking the bosses or like assigning them kind of difficulty levels, and like most of them were like medium or medium hard, and there was ones that were hard. And the first stage of the final boss, which is the rail shooter section, was labeled medium hard. And I was like expecting kind of not to have too much problems with it, but it was the hardest part of the game for me. What did you think of that? I was like, what? Suddenly I'm flying and I'm just, it's like, and they called it like a Star Fox style. And I was like, this is not Star Fox. This sucks.
I'd say it's more like Space Harrier.
Yeah, it's more like that. Yeah. And it's really like, as long as you keep moving, I guess you're okay. But also it's a catch-22, because if you're moving, you can't hit the targets that you need to hit.
Yeah, because you need to build up your devil trigger before you can pull off that massive fucking dragon attack.
Yes, and that was helpful. So here was my strategy is, I think I bought enough. I happened to be able to buy enough of those purple stars that would refill your devil trigger.
Yes.
And then I just got close enough to it. I hit the devil trigger, ran it through, and then I just did it like 2 or 3 times. And I just would immediately, when I was done, I would fire up the menu. I would use another one of those stars, and then I would just hit the devil trigger. I was like, fuck this. If I can cheese this, I'm doing it.
I mean, by the end of the game, like, no matter what abilities you've bought up until that point, I would strongly encourage anyone in like the last third of this game to just focus all of your efforts on just buying health and restorative items.
Yes.
That ability to use Devil Trigger as many times as you like, and the subsequent health like regain that you get from that, worth its weight in gold.
Right. And then you get to like the second stage of it, which it's basically this giant demon that's in the middle of a like lava pit, and you're just kind of on the outskirts of it. And if you go in the lava, you're dead. Like it'll take your health pretty consistently. So what I ended up doing was, and this is probably the most unorthodox way to beat this final boss, is I had one of those invincibility stars left. So I used that. I jumped in the lava. I did my little thrusty thrust attack a bunch and took like half of its health. And then as soon as it was done, I jumped out of the lava and I started using my my devil star things to recharge. And then I found that if I planted in place and used the guns had like a special like fire charge. So I was using my devil trigger and firing like fireballs at the boss. And I think I had to use a vital star once, which that's an item that you can only carry one of, and it will replenish all of your health. So between the devil trigger little stars, the invincibility star, and then the like vitalization star, I was just doing that. I guess
mean,
this is how I'm finishing the game.
The invincibility star I used, the throwing fireballs at him I used. I have never ever once considered like getting up in his face and just throwing hands with the guy.
Yes.
that is definitely a technique you used there. And you know what? I am so inspired that the next time I play this, and I will, I'm going to give that a go. That sounds like
Give it a
lots
try.
of fun.
You
I
have to
fucking will.
use that. It's like a gold star, isn't it? Like
Yeah, that's the one.
Whatever yeah, you have to use it. You jump in. The thrusting doesn't work. I was just using like I did it once, and then I started just like slashing with the sword, and it ended up working. I don't know how, but
yeah, because you're not using Alistair at that point. You've got the actual Sparta sword at that point, so the moveset's probably different.
yes, yeah,
That is such a good. And I'm only just realizing now that the invincibility star is a gold star.
yes.
So that's the thing.
That's another item that I think you can only carry one of, and there are only a couple of them in the game. So I'm happy that I had one at the end.
I think you can buy them, but they're not cheap.
No, they're very expensive. Yeah, but it's like once you buy it, you can only hold one in your inventory at a time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, otherwise it'd be far too easy.
Yeah, I guess suppose so. But yeah, that was my way that I cheesed the end, and I don't know if that's what the developers intended, but hey, I found a way.
I love it. There's the right way, there's the wrong way, and then there's the Sam way.
Right. That's exactly it.
Oh, what else is there to talk about? Music is good. It's atmospheric. It does the job. I thought it was.
And then
creepy
when you get into
it,
battles, there's like Matrix stuff.
Yeah, it kind of gets like a bit more industrial, and I always appreciate that stuff. But again, that's just on brand for this kind of game, isn't it? It's just spooky when it needs to be, techno industrial rave when you're beating up demons. Lovely.
Yeah, it is. Anything else to? I mean, I think we've just about covered it. Should we score this thing?
I reckon.
Let's do it.
Let's start with Brian. What did you think, Brian?
Fuck, I knew that was coming up. Okay.
I'll go last.
All right, so I'm going to get over the things I didn't really enjoy about the games, and which is obviously the camera. The camera being in a fixed position was absolutely not what this game needed. This game needed the ability to move the camera around in some capacity so that you could, be more comfortable when you're running around. It didn't need the Resident Evil style camera. Understanding that this was a Resident Evil kind of prototype before it became Devil May Cry, you kind of understand why everything looks like Resident Evil in it. Even when you walk up to stuff, it has that Resident Evil style way of explaining the text, and then you look at it closer, and then you find the thing. And it's like almost like a text-based game with pictures in it. It's just, it takes too long for my liking, but it's not a game-breaking thing. I didn't dive deep enough into it to really get to know the weapons and stuff like that. I think I only got to I only really remember the lava spider, so it's about as far as I got into it. That's why I haven't really been jumping in here that much, because I'm obviously the opinion of the guy who doesn't like this type of game, and that I'm going to try not to allow it to affect my opinion of it, because I know it's a very popular game, so I don't know what else to say about it. Like, this is obviously not going to be as controversial as Sam was hoping it was going to be, but the campy dialogue, the really phoned it in story, like basically, a kid telling his mom a story about what happened on the playground, and he keeps like, oh yeah, and then Johnny did this, and yeah, and then Johnny did that, and and then yeah, it works really well, because if I'm playing a game like this, I do kind of want the campiness of it. It just kind of enhances it. I don't know, the fighting system, I wasn't really getting along with the fighting system as well. The Resident Evil motif that this game has, it wasn't jiving with the fighting system, especially when like you're fighting an enemy and you jump and you hit a hole in the ceiling or something, and the camera changes and you come back down and you're disoriented again because the camera's that much of a different position. I don't know. Definitely not going to give this game a 0, because that's unfair to the game, unfair to the series, and unfair to, me not playing very far into it. So I'm probably going to give it about a 6 out of 10 because I'm so lukewarm on this game that I don't even feel bad that I didn't push that far into it. Like, normally, if I don't finish a game for the show, I get kind of that little bit of failure guilt. But this one, I'm just like, I probably never would have. Like, I could have sat through it, and it also didn't come at a good time because I got addicted to Power Wash Simulator 2, and that was really occupying my brain. And, I mean, things that make Power Wash Simulator 2 better, like you can control the camera, way better shooting, you can go into the prone position, it's just way better. Let's talk Power Wash Simulator 2.
I was just going to say, is this turning into a review of Power Wash Simulator?
Yeah, pretty much.
Hey, I tell you what, parts of
Anyways,
the environment could have used a power wash in this game.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Oh, yeah, probably. You know what's funny? I'm pretty sure like they could turn this castle into a Power Wash Simulator level, and I'd be all for it. Camera angles and all.
There you
That'd
go.
actually be kind of
But
fun.
Capcom, if you're listening.
But yeah, but I'm just going to give it a score there because I really don't honestly care enough to describe why I'm giving it a score. It's going to be a 6.5 out of 10. It's better than that average game. It's not as good as some of the games you guys have mentioned, like God of War. I'm actually excited to play because I feel like that could be a lot of fun.
Oh, we'll cover that game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're going to
I'm
definitely
looking forward
cover
to
that game. And there's other games like this. And then I'll say the one thing about this game is it did not turn me off of the series. That is one thing, because I have a feeling that future games might have fixed that camera problem and made this game better.
Interesting.
And if they didn't, if Devil May Cry 2 didn't fix it, then, well, fuck the rest of the series. Let's put it that way.
Oh, boy.
Go to hell. Go to hell in the game.
Yeah, I've heard Devil May Cry 2 is actually not very good.
Okay, maybe Devil May Cry 3.
Oh.
Tell me which one's the good one, and I'll play that.
3 is a masterpiece.
There you go.
All right.
Can you control your camera in 3?
I can't remember. Although what I do,
You know what?
I do remember about Devil May Cry 3 is that there were 2 versions that were released: the original release and the special edition. And the special edition was released, as far as I can remember, because the original was far too fucking difficult. So they brought the difficulty down a bit.
Okay,
Jesus.
well, I'm going to look up a YouTube video, Devil May Cry 3, while one of you does your scoring.
At least watch the intro. I'm telling you. Devil May Cry 3's
No,
intro is
like-
spectacular.
If the camera angles and stuff is good, yeah, it looks like it's a over-the-shoulder camera angle at this point. That's what this game needs.
Yeah, a true third-person like action-adventure game, this would have been, yeah, I would say.
This game would have been probably really good if it had that third-person over-the-shoulder camera angle.
Yeah.
But I'm done. 6.5 out of 10.
That's-
Sam, you can...
That's surprising. All right, Alan. I'll go last. Alan, you go ahead.
All right. Now, very early on when we started playing this game, Sam, the first thing you said when we started playing this game, do you remember what it was you said?
I know I didn't like it.
You said...
Or I did
that
like it. I liked it, and then I hated it.
You said that this, and I quote, was an Alan-ass game.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. This kind of game is directly up my alley. I mean, I love almost everything about this game. The cheesiness, the atmosphere, the sound, even the combat. I know, it's kind of basic when you compare it to what the series would become. I mean, the focus on combos gets a lot heavier as you go along. I mean, I've played almost all of them. I still haven't got around to 5 yet, which I'm really excited to play at some point. It's just, the schedule. You know how it is. But Devil May Cry 1, for a game that literally is a spin-off from Resident Evil as far as development goes, I think a lot of the things that we bemoan about this game are probably because, let's face it, this was not Capcom's primary focus at the time. I can imagine a big slice of development teams and development time were going into Resident Evil 4. This was a shot in the dark that they decided, you know what, this kind of works, let's see what we can do with this. And it has spawned like a hell of a franchise. I mean, maybe not to the level of Resident Evil, but there's a Netflix series, there's a ton of games, there's all sorts going on with this. And I think it's just because of how playable and how kind of tongue-in-cheek and action-oriented that this game kind of takes itself. You know, Dante is a hell of a protagonist. You know, I think he's what sells the entire game. Just that shit-eating smile, you know, I'm better than everyone else. But at the same time, you know, he does show certain vulnerabilities later on in the game that kind of gives a nice juxtaposition there. He's just like, yeah, you know, it's the early 2000s. Of course, we've got a character who's half human and half demon because, you know, that's kind of a big thing. The half and half thing was kind of a big thing back then. It is, as you say, kind of the Matrix, but with demons and all of that shit, guns that never run out and massive swords, and it is just pure 2000s edge, and I love it for that. I agree with the camera angles and all of that stuff. I'm not going to argue with any of that because, again, it's improved upon, but I don't think they knew what to do with it at the time. You know, they were still very much in the Resident Evil mindset. But yeah, as for a self-insert Leon Kennedy fan fiction, I love it. I love this game. I love this series. I'm fully aware that this game is probably only about a 7 or a 7.5, but I'm going to give it an 8 because nostalgia is a hell of a drug, and I am never having a bad time when I go back and play this.
Nice, well put.
Although I will say that Devil
lower than I thought you were going to give it.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, I'm allowing some headroom for future games in this series because
makes sense. Yeah,
my love for the third one just kind of puts this into perspective, you know. Although I will say, Devil Never Cry, the name at the end, stupid fucking story beat. I just
right.
Devil May Cry was
when they changed the name of the business to Devil's Never Cry or whatever. Yeah,
that's such bullshit. I mean, I love it, but fucking hell, Devil May Cry was a better name. But there we go.
All right, my turn. All right,
your turn.
Oh man, yeah, it's interesting. Brian's score was higher and Alan's score was lower than I thought this was going to go. Yeah, I don't really have too much to add that I didn't already say. I obviously, like, you have to kind of be in the right mindset to kind of just figure things out as you go along and figure out what strategies work for you. It's something that I think is I don't want to say it's easy to play. Like I said, maybe a difficult game, but even more difficult to master. You know, if you're someone who values getting the, you know, like the S tier scores on every mission and going through and playing the hard mode, and there's a lot of replay value just in that. You know, I think there's an argument to be made that there's probably a very rabid fan base for this game that really enjoys going through and, you know, finding the best combos and the best ways to get the highest score. That's not me. I did what worked and I figured it out, I guess. And I, you know, I did end up finishing it, but not without some frustrations along the way. Yeah, camera angle, tough, but I guess it makes sense when you learn that this was, you know, at least initially developed as an entry in the Resident Evil series. It really explains a lot. Do I think it could have been better as an over-the-shoulder, you know, true third-person 3D action game? Absolutely. You know, when you're fighting these bosses that, you know, are in a corner of your screen and you're trying to account for them, and then you slip past the kind of the plane that flips the camera angle and then flips it back. It really makes things difficult. That being said, I'm very happy that I found a way to account for most of the bosses, at least. Well, all of the bosses, because I finished the game, but, you know, finding a strategy that kind of worked, and just kind of sticking to it. And I kind of, you know, rode that strategy through the whole game. I'm glad that I finished it. It is short, so if it's something that you're looking to try, you know, it's not a huge time commitment. I finished it under 6 hours. And the missions are short. I will say that. It allows you to save between. So, perfect for taking like small chunks out of the game at a time and not having to worry about, having to replay large sections because you couldn't get to the next save point. So, man, this is tough because Brian already gave it the 6.5. That's kind of where I was going with it, though. Like, I did enjoy my time with it. I did finish it. Initially, liked what I was experiencing, and then hit a wall and really didn't like it. But I think when I really sat down and focused on it without like worrying about what else I was playing or trying to finish any other games or playing another game alongside it, I had a better time. So maybe it is, at least for me, maybe this isn't the case for everyone, but really like sit down and just play this. Don't try to pair it with something else. 'Cause, it is rewarding or at least more fun when you can kind of like lock in and focus on it. So, I'm going to just stick with that 6.5, I think. Like obviously other games did it better as far as I've heard. I don't know. 6.5. Weird game. Very weird game, but very much it is a slice of 2001 for sure.
Yeah,
That was us back then. That's
Sure
what we thought was cool.
Especially Alan walking around in his Dante trench coat all through the streets of London.
Big leather trench coat.
I did have a full-length leather trench coat. I'm not even kidding.
I know.
Oh, I
Not
don't.
even kidding.
I don't doubt it. It's like
I love that thing.
it's like
I
Max.
lived in that
It's like
thing.
Max Duster from from Sunny.
Yep.
Oh man. Well, you got anything? You guys got anything else? I got nothing.
No, I'd say
else.
I was gonna say if you're gonna get into this series, I've kind of shat on the second one, and for good reason. It's still kind of an enjoyable game, but it was made by a completely different team without the creators actually knowing about it, which is quite interesting. But I can highly recommend number 3.
I was watching a clip online, and there was a girl who threw up a whole bunch of magazines for her gun, and then just sat there and did like gun fu to get all these magazines to land into the appropriate gun at the appropriate time, and in such a stupid way. And it was just like, I couldn't believe it. Like it was so dumb. So I'm actually interested to play it now.
Yeah, it's kind of
There
over
you
the
go.
top shit.
So dumb, it's
But
fun.
but it doesn't have the over-the-shoulder camera like I thought. It did for the one scene I looked at, but as I was watching more, it's probably improved, but it still looks the same as what this did.
Yeah. Well, it'll be a while till we get another one.
That's it.
Until next time, devils never cry.
Hi there, everyone. We here at Retrotopia couldn't do what we do without the support of our Patreons. And to that effect, we would like to shout out our heroes at the hero tier. So a huge Retrotopia thank you from all of the hosts here to Andrew Wright, Wildcard, Unbuckled Cape, Makeshift Money, Sergeant Ombre, Randy Berridge, BCOS19, J Nasty 15, Chris Kaplane, Jack Datchler, Sir Busts-a-Lot, Big Kid 782, Super Dave, Big Brown Dog, Stud Still Smash, Fallen Snow Kiku, Radmac, Calin Hygus, Old Man Gamer, Raging Demon, Radioactive Hooli, Blue Shell Discharge, The Big Deal, Dylan Jacobson, Game Genius, H, Brother Retro, Shane's World, Ovindally, Brian Spritzer. So thanks as always for your support, guys. It truly means the world to us and means we can keep doing this little thing that we love so much. Game on.